Good morning, children. Today I am here with you with one of the very important chapter of political science of class 10. As the title of the chapter you can see here is power sharing. The power sharing in democracy is one of the most important spirit, we can say, which keep the democratic governments and the democratic values alive. So what we need to understand, or what is the necessity of the power sharing, for which we need to discuss this chapter. The chapter says that power sharing is important to design the democracy. If any government wants to be a democracy, the first it must decentralize its power among the various other institutions and the people living in that country. Another, power does not remain in the hands of few. What power sharing says that power should not remain in the hands of few. So in this way, what exactly power sharing means? So power sharing means decentralization of power. What is it? Decentralization of power or distribution of power, right? Distribution of power. Distribution of power. Now what kind of distribution or what kind of decentralization? This is very important to understand. Let us understand in this way. Do you share anything with your friends anywhere? Then you can experience one thing. Sharing means not only to give. Sharing means not only to take. Sharing means both give and take. So here in this chapter we will try to understand, dealing with the different case studies which chapter has given, and we will try to assimilate the overall idea. What is power sharing, what is its necessity, and how power is shared. That we will try to understand. Let us then begin our chapter, that is power sharing, with the case study, taking the Belgium as the first. If you see the Belgium in 1950s and 60s and its emergence or existing was based on ethnic composition. Now what was the ethnic composition of Belgium in this period of time? Let us try to see. In Belgium, do you know, there were three major group of people. First is those group of people who speak French. What was their percentage? Their percentage was 59%. Next to them, who were in majority, they were Dutch speaking people. What was their percentage? As written, the 40%. And the German speaking people, their percentage was just 1%. So this is the overall composition, ethnic composition of Belgium. Now let us see the composition of Brussels, which was the capital city of Belgium. In Brussels, these two major groups of people were living. The first one is the French speaking, they were 80%, and another one is Dutch speaking, they were 20%. Right? Now, in entire this composition, what we see, in entered German as well as enter Belgium, enter Belgium as well as in Brussels, who were in majority or who were in large number? They were French speaking people. It means all the administrative system or the government mechanism that was existing in the Belgium at the time, they were taking much more care and initiative to protect the interest of French speaking people, right? As a result, they were getting more opportunities, they were getting more privileges to uplift their conditions, due to which some other group of people like Dutch speaking and German speaking, they were feel like rejected by the government. And such conditions which prevails in Belgium lead to conflict between these two majority of the people, so-called French and Dutch. It's lead to conflict. And this conflict causes for what? Social divisions, right? Social divisions. Now, these social divisions are basically for these social differences. Can we call this as a social differences? Yes, this we can call as a social differences. And it was very difficult for the Belgium in the later phase of time to give a good governance. The rate of development was very slow. There was no harmony. The protest, rallies and the hartals, these were quite common. And all these practices in any country is not healthy for its development. As a reason, the government in Belgium, they thought of bringing certain change. That's why in 1970s to 1993, you see here 1970s to 1993, do you know the constitution of Belgium was amended for the 4 times. They realized that this practices is not good. That's why they amended the constitution of Belgium. For how many times? 4 times. Since 1970 to 1993. And when they amended this constitution, they brought certain changes. Now what are these changes? The changes are, first, equal representation was given in the central government. Earlier what happened? In the central government, only the French speaking people, they were occupying the large number of seats. They were holding maximum post and position. But after the amendment, what happened? Such practices was avoided and equal representation was given. Another changes. Both the center and the state were given equal powers. Earlier, center, that is Brussels, was more powerful than any of the state in Belgium. But after the amendment, what happened? The state and the capital, Brussels, were given equal power. Now, state can look after their own affair and the capital will not interfere. And state was then not subordinate to center. Okay, means now state did not remain subordinate to the center to take any kind of decisions of initiative. In Brussels, that is the capital city, both the state government and the central governments were given equal share. Finally, powers were given to community government or community level. Now see, when all these things were brought, All these things, that is what equal representation was given in the central government. Both the center and the states were given equal powers. The state then was not treated as a subordinate to the government. The capital city, that is Brussels, in which both the government has equal share, and finally certain or some powers were given to the community level or the community government. Now all this new thing which Belgium has brought in their constitution after the amending the constitution in 1970s to 1993 helped Belgium to accommodate in a better way, right? It's helped Belgium to accommodate in better way. Not only that, so many of conflicts, the differences, and which lead to the social divisions were eradicated, or these problems were getting off from the society. So this is the first case study we have done here with the Belgium. As I told you, the chapter is dealing in the comparative basis, taking the case study from the Belgium, Sri Lanka, and comparing with the India. So in this we have did the case study of Belgium. Let us continue with the another case study, that is of Sri Lanka. Let us take the another case study from the chapter, that is power sharing. That is case study of Sri Lanka. If you see the ethnic composition of Sri Lanka, then you will come to know that 74% of the people, they were Sinhalas. They speak Sinhalas. And 18% of the people, they speak Tamil. And another 8%, about which the chapter has not given any details, that they belongs to which linguistic group. So notable thing here is what you need to know about this, the Tamil speaking. Out of that 18% of Tamil speaking people, 13% were Sri Lankan Tamils and 5% were Indian Tamils. And these Indian Tamils, either they were Hindus or the Muslims. So in that phase of time, that is 1950s to 1960s, right? The Sri Lanka was under the influence of Mediterranean government since after its independence, which it achieved in 1948. Sri Lanka achieved its independence in 1948, and since then the Sri Lanka was under the influence of Mediterranean rule. Now it is very important to know that what is Mediterranean rule. When we talk about the Mediterranean rule, it is not that system of governance or that government which has come with the support of majority. No, here Mediterranean rule means what? That form of government which came in power with the influence of large number of people, majority of the people. Okay, as you see, in case of Sri Lanka, you will find that whose majority is more? So definitely those group of people who speaks Sinhalas. So Sinhalas were in majority, and the government which was formed in Sri Lanka, that was formed by the influence of their numbers. Okay. So after the 1948, the Mediterranean rule was continued. Another notable thing was what? The Act of 1956. The Sri Lanka has passed an act, and according to that act, it has given lots of privileges to those group of people who were in majority, and they were the Sinhalas. And what privileges they have given? Let's see. First, they recognize Sinhalas as official language. Another, Buddhist was declared as official religion. And another, all the privileges first for Sinhalas. Whether it is a question of government job, okay, the government job, or getting admission in universities, right? Universities. So, first preference were given to Sinhalas people. And this particular act, which gives a preference to one particular community, ignoring the rest living in the country, has resulted these problems. And what we see? We see in Sri Lanka the communal rights. Okay? People started to fight in the name of ration. There also, like Belgium, uncountable problems or series of problems started to happen. Do you know, as people feel rejected and eliminated, who were not the Sinhalas, since after the 1956, when the majoritarian government, they have passed this kind of act, then ultimately what happened? This made people unhappy. They feel as rejected, they feel as eliminated. They are not a member or the part of the government or the part of the country, and ultimately that lead to social differences and division. As a result, you can see that so many organizations were formed in Sri Lanka, and this organization creates a lots of problems for the then system of government. Do you know the organization like what we call as LTT, they also get originate because of these happenings that happen in the Sri Lanka. And the LTT, like which become later considered as a anti-elements of the Sri Lanka and causes for the threat to the various other countries. Their emergence, their origin, it has happened because of such act which neglect the interest of people. Now this is the another case study of Sri Lanka which we have discussed. Now we will try to assimilate the chapter and we will try to understand based on these two case studies that why power sharing is desirable, right? So we will continue that.